Good morning, Seahawks faculty, guests. My name is Mr. King. I am your host and also fellow Seahawk here representing our North Campus. You can find me on Instagram at Meet Mr. King for all your sources of inspiration. We are back with another episode of our Who Are You series here at Broward College. It's a career exploration series where students will be able to learn about the various types of careers within their pathway. The educational paths available at Broward College to get students in those fields, and even just the best part of this all, you get to hear from working professionals within that pathway about how to be successful in the industry. This series is meant to help those currently thinking about coming back to school, enrolled in the school, or, if it's been some time and you've been away and you're just not sure if it's for you. This is another great series that's going to help you learn about the different career paths here at Broward College. Continue to follow Broward College Student Life North Campus on Facebook for more information about our upcoming episodes. Today, we have two special guests representing my career path, the arts, humanities, communication, and design. The one for the creators. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Mario Vasquez, one of our academic advisors here at Broward College. Mario, how you feeling today, brother?
How are you, sir? I'm glad to be here.
Excellent, excellent. I'm happy to have you here as well. We are going to help a whole lot of kids today. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey here at Broward College.
Well, I want to share with everyone that I've been where you are. I am also a product of an associate degree from a community college in Texas. Okay. I joined the military at 17. Ooh. So there was a reason for that. I knew that when I got out of the military, they were going to pay for my college. So I kind of went to work first, and then I went to school. While I was in the military, I completed my AA in general studies, but I knew I wanted to do something more in the arts field. When I got out, I went into the art education program. So right. I've been in the arts field for about 20 years.
Okay.
Art education program. I knew I wanted to make a difference. I served my country, but then I wanted to do something else. I was in the classroom right before September 11th when that happened. So it was a little traumatic when I started. But then when I got into the classroom, all the students, it was just a joy to see them, learn about the arts. I've taught K through 12, and now I teach at Broward College. I taught all grades. And it's a joy to see their, learning about the arts. And there's so many careers out there. I taught, I went into the education field, meaning teaching them, about the arts. But it's amazing when you see them go out there and do amazing things. Some of my students have been, film directors, graphic designers, dancers. It's amazing to see them perform, and they come back and say, thank you so much for that push. But yeah, the arts is within me, so I like to share it with others.
Well, first off, I want to thank you for your sacrifice that you paid for this country. I also want to thank you for fulfilling your purpose by helping others find theirs. So what's your goal as an academic advisor when a student sits down with you and says, you know what, I think this is the career path I might want to take. How can you help me do that?
Yes, so I want them to be successful. Period. After they complete their degree, we want them to go into the workforce and give back to society in any way. It doesn't have to be in the education field. It could be as an entrepreneur. Giving back to society with their talent actually is my goal here. Of course, to complete their program, but get them engaged while they're at, in the college at Broward College. They could, anything that they need that I could help them within the field. Join a club organization. It could be the drama club. It could be the photography club. It could be any type of club that's going to keep them engaged and provide them with that support here at Broward College. So when they do go into the workforce, they feel like they want to give back.
That's actually It's funny you say that because when I did start college, and it wasn't an easy, portion because I was away for quite some time, and then I had to come back and get back into the testing and in testing those waters, not too sure what I wanted to do or how I was going to move forward, but I knew I wanted to do what we're doing now. I ultimately wanted to own my own television show, or I at least wanted to work on one. So going back to school is what helped me, and it's joining student life that
Yes.
really helped me see what we had available at the school, how we were interacting with the students, how the programming department worked to get the different ideas and different visitors and different guests to come into the school to really help us kind of understand who we're trying to be. I feel like, a lot of the high school students who are just coming into college are not really sure. They just say, you know what, my parents told me I was supposed to go to school. How do you help those kids find themselves, for the ones who just says, well, I'm just here because someone told me to be here? What kind of advice do you give them to continue their education?
Well, number one is networking, and number two is the support system. Example, when you are practicing, let's say, doing your own little video for YouTube, you could have your colleagues, your classmates give you that constructive criticism. So before you go to an interview, you're just not shut down. Some people have told me I talk too fast, so I have to slow it down. Some people say you're too expressive. Okay, so there's a place and a time for everything. So when you're with students, I tell them the real deal. One thing is the theory and the academics, and one thing is the real life. As you're in college, you have all of that opportunity to, ask your professors, can you give me your feedback? They've been they are professionals in their craft, so they're experts in each class is very important. So just because you take a class, in one field, and you're taking maybe a science, a biology, or chemistry, all classes are important. Because you could tap into that expert and say, how was it for you? It was very interesting when I took a biological illustration in college. Scientist was the illustrator. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought, the left brain and right brain, science people are not artists, but this gentleman was both. I learned so much. I had to tell him, can I talk to you after class? And he's like, sure. I would open up his book and he would tell me, why do you make the illustrations in, biology books? He said, because photos are too graphic. And, when you design them in color, people see them and understand them in a different way. And I'm seeing how he looks at this and how illustrated books are made and for the reason they're made. So not everything could be photography, because I delved into photography because my grandfather is a cinematographer. My father is an amateur photographer. So that was innate in me. So I went into photography, in my concentration as an art educator, but I shared that with the students. You have to tap into different professors and their craft, because you might leave learning something that had nothing to do with class. So it's very interesting.
You brought up two really great points. The first being, not only do you learn educational skills not educational skills, but you're growing academically, but you're learning those really important life skills. You're learning a little bit more about yourself when you are able to receive that feedback from the professors and your peers. And I'm not going to lie, I probably gained about 150 more followers just attending school and letting them know what I wanted to do and what I was doing. Oh, I would love to support. I would love to follow. Share. Tell me, what you guys have going on. So that was a really great point. And then you also brought up the fact of networking.
Yes.
I've received more help from my professors than I have in the working world, because a lot of in the working world is really dog eat dog. Everybody's really out for themselves. But when you understand that there is a support system here at Broward College that wants to see you succeed, and you are their first stop before you even get them to the professors, you're telling them which ones you got to go, which way you got to go. And then when they are in those classrooms, it is the gems that you pick up sitting in those rooms are amazing. And I just thank you for pointing that out. It really is probably one of the biggest help it has been for my career. Being in school is not just the academic side, but also the networking and the help and support that I've received from the staff.
Exactly.
So let's continue on. This is my pathway, and I have a lot of questions. I've had a lot of questions. I sit down. I haven't had the chance or opportunity to sit down with you until today, which is great. But what are some of the common misconceptions you receive from students when they choose this path, when they sit down in your office?
The support. Have you heard the phrase "the starving artist"? I've heard it before. I was in that boat as well. When I told my parents, I've always been an artist since, as long as I remember, 3 years old, drawing, learning the color codes and what to mix. When I left the military, I had to rethink my career. I actually asked my mother, she's also an educator, a nurse, and also teaches nursing. She sat me down and it's like, what do you enjoy? And you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life. So that's when I learned a job versus a career. A career is for the rest of your life. I could be 90 years old and stop teaching at that age. But a job is something that you need. We all have to survive. We have to pay our bills and we have to eat and we need shelter. But a career is something that's innate, that comes naturally to you, and something that you don't see it as work. You see it as this part of your life. And that's how I explain to the students, you can't go into a career that either your spouse, your parent, or your guardian told you, you must do this. It should be, it's a calling. Your career is a calling. And in my case, it has been an educator, an art educator. So when students come and tell me, I don't know if the arts is going to pay my bills. Well, that's the same conversation I had with my parents. Art, well, you should think something else. So when I said education, it's like, they don't make too much. But guess what? I could move to any state, to any country, and still be an educator. So it's a career. So the whole starving artist thing, maybe that may be for 1 or 2 people, 15 minutes of fame. But when you do it with passion, it doesn't matter if I have a little bag with my paints. I'm going to keep on moving and do the best I can. And by the way, there's a school in every 2 miles in our community, either elementary school, middle school, or high school, or college. So if you can't survive on doing your craft as an entrepreneur, you can always go into education. And that's why we have that pathway in our college, the arts and education. You could be a dancer. You could work on your own or be a dance educator. You could be a music educator, an art educator, and work on your own on top of that. So the arts is everywhere. It's just like the radio in your car. Regardless what car you buy, there's going to be a radio there. And there's a reason for that, because music, runs the world, and media and art, so it's something we can't get out of. It's going to be part of our life, regardless if you're in that career or not.
I heavily agree with you. And my grandmother once said, when we had a conversation, your education can never be taken away from you.
Exactly.
So just like you said, you can be living here, you can be moving across the country. If you have that, that does give you the leg up in the working world or in the society we have today for you to find that niche of, where you're supposed to be. And usually passion coincides with purpose. So if you're passionate about something and that's what you're meant to do, the money will come.
Exactly.
Everything will come with it as long as you go through it. So I love that you brought that up, and I love how you brought up that music is everywhere. And as you can see, just like I was in my class earlier today, and we talked about just how music has changed over time, that we're into streaming services now, going back from those old 45s and 70 LPs. We're in such a vast new world. How has this career pathway adapted to the growing digital world? Have we looked at if our curriculum is maybe outdated or not? Is there ways that we've developed here at Broward College that you feel as an advisor that we've adapted to the new times?
We have adapted to the new times. And I have to tell you, just let's use an example of how music has been sold. I remember the 8 tracks in the 80s. I'm not sure if you're that age, maybe you don't do or don't know, but the 8 tracks, then it went to cassettes, and then it went to it went online, and then I remember the LPs like you're talking about. Now they're back, but it's evolved, and now it's the Walkmans. Remember the Walkmans? You would put the cassette
Yes.
there and you
Yes.
walk around. So now, that was the technology at the time, and it has evolved. So now the music is more available online. So now, there is a financial consequence to that, because before you will buy the product at the radio, at the store, and now you could stream it. At one point you had to pay, and now it's by clicks or likes, right? Or, and so musicians now make their money in a different way. They have to perform either in person or online, and then you can see the concert. But there's a personal touch when, we do this virtually, because it could be a little bit more intimate, or it could be more people can attend that could not attend before. Whether, there's storms that are now stopping concerts. Right now we're in a pandemic, but when this ends, we're going to be trained that artists, you could get your guitar right now, have a fundraiser from home, and you're going to probably have so many views compared to a concert that you went to a specific city. So I believe the times are changing, but this is all for a reason. This is not only Broward College. This is the world. The world is changing, and we're changing with the times. And I believe little by little, students are going to be much more prepared when they graduate. Because one thing, like I said, is performing in person, and one is performing online. And now they have that experience of both things going on for them.
I completely agree. And the way that you can see how we've adapted, just being in the pandemic, and how we've been able to meet with advisors virtually, how we've been able to get our financial aid and everything squared away. I'm that kind of person who has to speak face to face to get these things done. But I will say that the college has done an amazing job of trying to navigate and pivot through this really just crucial time for us. So I want to honor you and your department as well, because I've had to speak with advising, and I am in my classes right now, and I am doing well, but it was that extra support that, again, everyone will be calling and everybody will be trying to come to the school, but you guys have placed an emphasis on adapting to this new times and making sure you're staying connected to students. Now, as I came back to school, there was a new program, and it was the new media design or digital. You can speak a little bit about it. I don't want to say the name incorrectly, but there was, as I was looking at my pathway, I'm a communications major. I want to get my mass communications degree. That was really like, I don't know, I might want to touch this one, because new media communication pathway gave you an internship at the end of that. I've never seen a program that guaranteed an internship at the end of the program. Do you mind speaking a little bit about that for those who are watching and weren't aware that we do have this new pathway opening up here at Broward College?
Well, the new media communication is that. It's because we're moving with the times, and people the students are trained in the social media aspect. As you know, there's Instagram, there's Pinterest, there's Facebook, there's WhatsApp, there's so many things out there that we have to keep up with the times. When you go to an interview, yes, you have your education, you have your degree, correct? But you can also be competing with 20, 30, 40, at this point, maybe 500 people with the same degree. So they're going to start looking at, one, what else can you offer? And what other experiences do you have? By the way, you don't have to leave the campus. We do have a film program, that film production, you can make commercials. You could interview other students, you could interview professors, you could go to the games, you could interview the president. Now technology has evolved so much that sometimes when, we know that other industries, you have to understand that other colleges and universities are also requesting internships at television stations, radio stations. I live very close to a radio station here off of 95. And, you want to learn as much as possible, because you're going to be competing with other students are as well educated as you, even from our own college. So when you delve into an internship, you're experiencing what the job is going to be. Some internships are paid, others are not paid, but we want the student to be as hungry for that knowledge. So when you go out and you find a job, it's just not, you go in a suit with your resume, I'm applying because I need a job. That's not what they're looking for. That's not what the employer's looking for. They're looking for that next superstar. You're going to represent that employer. So
Yes.
they want the best of the best. So just by having, a very nice, like I said, a very nice suit or a great degree with 4.0, yes, they're looking for that. But how about the experience? So you want to gain that experience way before you graduate. You don't want to be we do it the last semester, but if you could delve into something even before that, volunteer. You could volunteer where you want to work, when you graduate. See yourself. I'm a visionary, so I tell the students, visualize yourself. Where do you want to work? Forget about the salary. Forget about where it's going to be. What change do you see when you get there? What do you want to do? Remember, it's a career, so it's for the rest of your life. You have to, see the world in a different way. If you want to travel overseas or work overseas, where do you see yourself? If you want to go into television, do you want to work for Fox News or CNN or for the local news? There's so many channels out there. So, but where do you see yourself, contributing to that organization?
That was really great. I truly appreciate that, Mario. One of my great sayings, and I won't take up too much of your time, you've been so amazing. And one of my great sayings that I always tell everyone that I come in contact with is that your resources flow through your relationships. And the more relationships you have, the more resources that you have available to you. And I try to tell that to as many students as I can too. And a relationship with you is probably one of the most important one. How can a relationship with you help me tap into those additional resources that I'm going to need to be successful?
Well, we recommend the students to make several appointments with their academic advisor, their assigned academic advisor. Why is that? Some students advisor hop, they go to one advisor and then they go to the next one, they go to the next one. But if you go to your assigned academic advisor, that advisor is trained in those fields. So it's best that they follow up with the appointment with that advisor because, one advising session could be, what classes do I need for this semester or for the following semester or to graduate? You make another appointment of career exploration. What careers can I delve into to find that dream job that I want? Then you make another appointment. How can I get into a transfer school if I wanted to go to a university? So an AA prepares the students to transfer to a university. The AA tends to prepare you for the workforce. So some students don't know the difference. So again, you can't just make one appointment and expect to know everything what the advisor has to offer. So we recommend follow-ups with the same advisor to, number one, form a relationship with your academic advisor, pick their brain, go prepare with questions, not expecting that the advisor is going to download all this information because the student has to be ready by phases. We can't tell you about internships on your first semester because it could confuse the students. We want to make sure that they're in line and track, and if that's what they really want. Not all careers are the same. They don't all pay the same, and the student's passion could evolve as they go through different classes. They could be inspired by one career versus the other. So, or, I've had many students say, can I do a double major here? That tends to be at the university level. But for example, when I was in college, I wanted photography, sociology, counseling, and education. It's like, wait a minute, there's too many here, So now as an advisor, all of those are combined together. So I said, wow, I really am at my dream job. As awkward as that sounds, I'm really enjoying what I do is to help our students succeed because I was there at one point. But again, making the follow-up appointments with their advisor, it's going to help them, one, like I said, form a relationship and see if the student is really grasping what they really want in life,
That's amazing. And that's a really great way to end this off, because I do want to ask you one last question, but just to harper back on what you just said. The reason why you want to go to your assigned academic advisor is because of that relationship. If you have a personal relationship with Mr. King and you know what Mr. King wants to do, I know he wants to have a show. You've been seeing me all throughout those years to go, okay, are you taking this? Because this is going to lead to this. They'll make sure you're taking this. No, you don't need to be over there in biology because that has nothing to do. You've already handled that. Let's make sure we're moving towards your major so we can get you ready for that transfer if you do want to go to another university to finish out your bachelor's or something of that nature. You've been amazing, Mario, even for myself in this pathway, I've learned something new today. So that I just want to thank you for. If there's anything that you can leave us with, any bit of advice that you would like to leave us with, please feel free to share.
Well, for our students, it's not going to be easy. Nothing in life is easy. If you have some hiccups in your classes, some students are shy or too proud. You know, the Academic Success Center is there to help students like myself when I needed, to write an essay when I started. English is my second language, and I had to get better at it. So I know that other students, regardless if they have another language or not, use the resources provided by the college. They are free. They're part of your package of tuition. So if you need help in any tutoring, you could go to the tutoring center, and writing and math, computers, science, they're there to help you succeed. And we can't leave it all to the professors. It's just, this is a community here. We're all helping each other. We're all learning. We learn something every day. We have to adapt to the times, but we want the students to be successful. We want them to graduate and be prepared for not only their job, but for the world.
That was a beautiful answer, brother. It's just like the old saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village in the community here at Broward College to help you become successful. And we have all the resources available to you to do that. And you're basically the first stop. So, Mr. Vasquez, I'm calling you Mr. Vasquez already because I feel like I'm sitting here at an academic advising appointment. But thank you so much for taking the time to help us here on that arts, humanities, communication, and design pathway. You're amazing at what you do. Again, thank you for the sacrifice that you pay for this country. And I thank you for coming back and helping those kids and fulfilling your purpose by helping others. This has been a great segment. We have another guest coming right up, so don't go anywhere. You guys are here at the Who Are You series. I am your host, Mr. King. That was Mario Vasquez. And again, I thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. We got our next guest coming up next. Welcome back, BC. This is your host, Mr. King, and we are here as a part of our Who Are You series. Today, we got our two special guests. And remember, I said we have a really fun one coming up next. He's not only a trumpeter, he's an arranger, he's a composer, he's a band leader, and he's an educator right here in Broward College, representing our arts, humanities, communication, and design pathway. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to my guest, Anthony Stanko. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
How you feeling, Anthony?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate you being a part of this. It's just done a lot for me. I want to say that it's a way that we're helping these kids find their path and find their career and just grow in school. But as the host of this just really great series, it's helped me tremendously. This is my pathway. So I love hearing from creators. I love just peeking into the mind of someone who's thinking just within my mind frame. So enough about me. Let's get into you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how'd you find your way here to Broward College?
Sure, yeah. I just got to Broward College last year, started in fall 2019. So this is my second year and I've been loving it. I started playing music in Detroit. So that's where I was coming from Detroit, Michigan. And man, I just, in an early age, I just fell in love with music. I started studying it, and I went to Michigan State and got an education there in jazz studies. Before I came to Broward College, I was teaching at Ohio State University.
Wow.
And yeah, man, I jumped at the opportunity to be the director of my own program. So now I'm here, director of jazz studies at Broward College. I'm very excited.
That is beautiful. And what a testimony just to see that you started out in Detroit. You got some soul in you. I could definitely see how you're getting over into the jazz. But even as an educator, before I even go into you as an educator, as a creator, we tend to feel if we got talent, we really don't need school. We can make it on our own. I'm talented enough. I just got to get into the right room, meet the right person, and boom, I'm getting my big break. How do you, as a professor, as an educator, help these young creators who are a part of this pathway see the importance of school instead of just trying to go out there and getting it on your own?
Sure. I mean, for jazz studies, we have a long tradition of teaching. It's always been in the music, and I'm talking, we can talk about Miles Davis. Miles Davis had a teacher. His teacher was Dizzy Gillespie.
Mm.
Dizzy Gillespie had a teacher. His teacher was um, oh man, I'm blanking on his name right now. But what I'm telling, what I'm saying. It's like everyone is coming from something. So we have a saying in jazz. It's called "Each one teach one."
Yes.
And so it's like we're passing this tradition down. So this music has always been, we've always had educators. Has it always been in the school system? No, but we're working, it is now, right? And you can find an amazing education here as well. And that's what was really important for me as a student was, like you said, it's like if you have the skills, you go out there and just perform, right? But a lot of it is networking, right? You have to network. So a lot of what I did in the schools that I picked and that I wanted to go to was who was teaching there? How can I work with them? And how can they be not only my professor, but they can be a colleague? And
Yes.
I think that's really important in education, and not only to think of this as a, you're in school and then, wait until you get into the real world. This is the real world. The real world is now, and you can make those connections in your field at school.
I completely agree. It was just as we were speaking to Mario not too long ago, we talked about your network and how important your network is to your growth. And I always say that your resources flow through your relationships. So the more relationships you do earn and the more resources that do come to you, and you added a really brilliant point to that is mentorship. Learning, having someone to be there who's been there before to teach you and show you the ways and how to be creative and how to do it your way. As again, band leader, trumpeter, just a creative, how do you keep it creative in the classroom for someone who is interested in maybe pursuing music in their life? How do you as an educator keep it creative in the classroom?
Sure. So like not only are we, being creative in the classroom, but we're also being creative outside of the classroom. And so we're giving those students, the creativity to bring it outside into the real world, right? So when we're in the classroom, we're talking, we're studying scales, we're studying theory, right? But outside of the classroom is where I want my students to be really creative, So it's like take these skills and go to performances. So I have a student right now. He's in his second year of study. He's a great drummer, and we have a performance we're going to do on Sunday or on Monday rather. So not only are we working on creativity in the classroom, we're taking it outside of the classroom and then putting it into real practice. I think that's what's really important.
I completely agree. I do feel if you're exposed to the right environment, then you learn a little bit more about yourself. Or my mom always taught me, I'm going to throw you in the jungle. You learn how to dance with the wolves and the vultures and you'll survive.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit how exposure, because again, you're coming from Michigan, you went over to Ohio State. How has that exposure helped you as an educator coming here to Broward College to help our young ones?
Sure. I think one of the reasons I'm the educator I am today is because I had great teachers as well. I had a lot of exposure. So, I was the student always doing, summer camps. I was always not studying with just one teacher, but learning from as many different people as I could. And so I think that's really important. So like as a student, I think it's great not only just to take, the curriculum that you need to get your associates or to get your degree, but branch out, see what else is, that you're interested in. I have all my students who play trumpet also study piano, and in getting that type of background. If you play more than one instrument, that just gives you more perspective.
No, that is brilliant. Again, the fact that you're exposing your students to not just what they think they're good at, but let me give you something else to my old manager of mine used to say, like, let your breath be within the organization, and by breath, touch everything, know everything, because the more that you've touched and the more that you've seen, the more your skills are going to be developed, the more people are going to see more in you and want to develop you and help you out. And that's why I am thankful for the teachers that I've had and the mentors that I've had and that have worked with me, because this is what helped me grow within this realm or within media and in just life itself. But as a student here, especially at Broward College, I'm loving the relationships that I do have with my professors. I'm loving the open door policy to ask questions. Can you tell me some of the questions, or just share with some of the questions that you get from your students that may help out students that are watching today, or someone who may be thinking about school, to hear some of the conversations that happen between student and professor?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of students who, they want to make music a career, so they're asking me lots of questions about what it's like, being in the music world. And those are things that I can answer just because I've been able to do it. I've been able to tour with my own ensemble. I've been able to come out with a few records of my own. I have background in the industry. So my students are asking me for those types of, advice. I also have some students who may not want to, be a music major, but they still want to play music. And I think that's important, so if any student is watching this and saying, hey, I want to be involved, there's lots of ways to still do that. You can still play in an ensemble, you can still take lessons, and you're right, asking questions is such a big deal. I encourage that so much, because if you don't ask, you'll never get an answer, so if you have a question, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody who's interested in a pathway into music, or just wanting to continue playing an instrument, because we all know how important that is just to develop as a human.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to put your phone number and email down in my Rolodex right now, because I'm
Yeah,
sure even after this, I'm going to have a ton of questions, because you've been in the industry. You have the know-how, you've had the experience. And again, that's again with mentorship. Mentorship, I really feel like, is about trust and experience. Can I trust that you're going to be truthful to me about your experience and what I should look out for and what's going to help me, and what, just soaking up the knowledge that you're willing to provide. That's that good wisdom. Now that you have some wisdom of being in school and then also being out in the field, is there anything that school specifically helped you when you were out there in the field and you were a part of the industry? Did school play any vital role in that piece before you came back to as an educator?
Yeah, I think, my schooling was, and part of the industry, it's one and the same. I don't really think I can separate them, because all my professors, I work with them professionally. My trumpet professor, the person that taught me how to play trumpet, I recorded with him in New York City on his big band record.
Wow.
I've getting this position here at Broward College would not be possible if I didn't have my connections at Michigan State, where I graduated from. So yeah, it's like they're not. I don't consider myself a performer and then an educator. They're not separate. It's all in my wheelhouse. It's I'm making a career in music through education and performing. It's the same to me.
That's a great answer. I hear networking, I hear connection, I hear mentorship, I hear wisdom. These are all really vital elements that you need in the industry, but these are things that you could develop and cultivate those relationships while being in school. And that's a lot of the advice that I'm trying to give the younger generation now. Again, social media is right here in our hands. You feel like you can have a business like that, or all it takes is an LLC, but there is some really important knowledge there that you are going to need when you go into that industry. Even as an artist or music, someone who does work in music, understanding contracts and understanding those conversations and percentages and things of that nature. Those are pieces of school that I feel like you can't really you can't duplicate. You really get to learn unless you have someone who was there to teach you, and then the education piece backs that if If you can tell me just what you enjoy about being an educator, what is it about educating our next generation? What is it about passing along that wisdom that you enjoy being here at Broward College?
Yeah, I've been teaching for a long time. I've actually taught my first private trumpet lesson when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So I've been doing this for a long time, and it's something that I've grown to like really love, and it's really getting, like I was saying before, it's not that it's not only that I love it, I feel like an obligation to do it. I really do, because the music will die if I don't, right? I'm teaching an art form. I'm teaching jazz studies. This is something that's been a part of American history, for the last 100 years. And if we don't teach it, it'll die, and only through education we can, thrive and make this music survive. And it is, you can see it in institutions like Broward College, where it has a long-standing history of, having great musicians and a great program. And so that's kind of what I'm really thankful for, is to be able to kind of build on, the past and kind of push it into the future.
I love that you brought up future, but before that, I can say anything about that. What a responsibility. Just to hear you say, if I don't teach it, it will die, that's got to be passion. That's got to be purpose for you to understand that this is what you were meant to do. And then you got to pass this information and knowledge along for it to keep living. Okay. I feel that way about a lot of things, because the world is changing, and the older I get, the more I'm starting to see that this younger generation will never know what it was like to have life without social media, or what life was like when you just had to be creative on your own and kind of figure it out without Google. Sure. How do you feel your program is adapting to the new times and the age and the changes, and making sure that you're not just watering it down and keeping it to how it was taught back in the day, but how are you keeping it modern and just pushing it forward for the future?
Yeah, and I can't water it down, and we have to keep on pushing it forward. It's it's no surprise that the musicians today are better than the musicians back in the day. It's like I have young students who are coming out and they're like, man, they sound amazing, and it's like, why is that? It's like, because they have so much access to the technology right at their fingertips. You can go on YouTube, you can check this stuff out. And it's changed me in the way that I'm learning. I think that's what's really done. It's like I didn't really have the YouTube when I was like learning to play the instrument or check this stuff out, but I do now, and I see how beneficial it is to the younger generation. It's like, man, I can learn something from that as well. And yeah, it's the same. It's a two-way street.
You're the first person I ever heard say that you think the newer generation is better than the old, because I feel personally that the new generation is inspired by the old. So I listen to a lot of old music. I listen to the originals, because a lot of music now is just chopped up and sampled from the old folks. But yeah, you do make a very valid point. If you have access to how everybody was doing it before, and you have new technology and new tweaks and what they were doing before, it's easier for you to do. Now it kind of makes sense, and how it will sound better, and how you will how it would be perceived that it's better, because you have access to so much more, and you could get to touch so much more in this time now. So yeah, that was definitely
so many 12-year-olds that can like play better than some grown folks. It's just they have all the information. It's in their ears, and you can it's a learning tool for sure.
No, I agree. And forgive me, I didn't say this in the beginning of the interview, but you are looking sharp, brother. I feel a little underdressed sitting up here next to you, but you look great. You sound great. You feel great. I can feel your passion through this interview, and I can't wait till we see each other face to face. Yeah. I would love to hear some of your stuff. I did get a sample a little bit on your website, so I would love for our students, anybody listening, to get to know a little bit more about Anthony Stanko. How can they do that?
For sure, yeah. You can go to my website, it's anthonystanko.com, or I just released a record last month on a record label. It's Detroit Music Factory. So you can go to Detroit Music Factory and purchase one of the records. And you can listen to it on any other, Apple Music, Spotify, any of those platforms. Just type in Anthony Stanko. Record's called You Know the Feeling.
Congratulations, and I'm feeling good today, brother. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I feel like I am speaking to a celebrity right now. Come on, Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, Detroit. So before we go, you've been amazing. I feel like I've gotten so much more of a better idea of you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not know we had jazz studies because I'm more communications, media. This is my side, but I'm a music lover. So the fact that I would be able to even take your class as an elective or just to learn more about the music that I enjoy so much. Again, I love history and culture, and when you get to learn why you like something, you like it and love it even more. So please, if there's any advice that you can give all of us here, I would love for you to share.
Sure. I think what is really important is to stay connected. Let's, I think that's another thing you said. It's like this technology, it's good because we can stay connected. And we need to do that more than ever, because with COVID-19, we can definitely feel a little bit of an isolation, right? But the music and, these teachings, it's only going to survive through community, right? You have to know one another. You have to communicate with one another. You have to work together. And I think that's really important, so let's support one another. You can support Jazz Studies by coming out to our concert December 4th at TY Park in Hollywood. So come check it out. Let's work together.
Well, I'm putting that in my calendar, brother. I will certainly be there to support, especially being a fellow Seahawker as well. And you are right. Community is truly important. And this is why we're here. This is why Broward College feels it's so important for us to build this community and let them know about the professionals and the business professionals and the professors who are all part of this community and want to help. And Mario brought it up earlier in our interview about us staying connected as well and making sure you are having those conversations and you are building those relationships to your network. You guys are right there. You're a classroom away. I can't wait till we get back on campus because I'll definitely stop by and make sure I come and see you and give you my feedback on the music that I'm hearing. And you are right. Again, I say it, community is so important. And for all of you that are tuned in and listening, please understand that community helps you grow as a person. Community also helps you build those relationships and widen your network. And this man is a man who taught in Ohio State. He is has a business, and he is with a label that's in Detroit. He comes from Michigan, and now he's here as a part of our family. You have to tap into knowledge and wisdom, and someone who's been there and done there before. And this is why it's important for you to meet these individuals that come here to introduce themselves to our Who Are You series. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. Anthony Stanko, thank you so much for just giving me the time to just get to know a little bit more about you and Jazz Studies and what you do here for us here at Broward College. Remember, you can catch another episode coming up soon. Make sure you are following Broward College's Facebook page so you can see just all the great gems that we're going to be dropping for this series. Again, I am your host, Mr. King. This is my guest, Anthony Stanko. We definitely want to thank Mario for joining us earlier. It's been a great afternoon. I hope you have a great afternoon as well. Remember, tune in, Seahawks. Keep doing your best. And like Anthony said, make sure you find that community, because when we all get together, we all can do great things. This is Mr. King signing off. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. All right, Seahawks, to finish out this week's show, I would like to introduce you to Professor Mariah Reed. She teaches in our theater department here in Broward College, and I want to share with you a behind-the-scenes look at what her class has been working on. Let's tune in.
Hi there, my name is Mariah Reed, and I am a professional actress. I'm a member of the Actors Equity Association, the Screen Actors Guild, the American Federation of Radio and Television Artists, and I'm also a playwright with the Dramatists Guild. How did I get my start? Well, I got my start at the college. I studied acting at the University of Florida, and that school took our student body to a couple of theater festivals, and at those festivals I was able to audition for paying work as an actress, and I actually got my first 2 professional gigs that way. My second job I got through that festival took me to New York, and I became a member of the National Shakespeare Company. I got to tour the country performing Shakespeare. It was amazing. And then I set up home in New York City, where I worked for 4 years as a professional actress, making a living doing what I loved. One of my jobs brought me here to Florida, and in Florida, I managed to do a fair amount of regional theater, and I got into film and television here in Miami. I really, really love working down here. I find it a community of artists who really support one another. And along the way, I decided, I think I want to go back in my master's and teach what I know, like to give back a little bit of what I've learned. And that's what I do now. I teach here at Broward College, and I teach my students not only important acting skills, but I also teach them how to get work during the age of COVID, because things have changed. So I teach them things like self-taping technique. We're learning now how to do auditions from home. And what I do is when I get an audition, I actually learn my lines, and I record it at home with a little home studio I've created, and then I send it to the casting director, and the casting director submits it, and then when I get a call back, it's usually on Zoom from my home. So these are things we're teaching our students so that they can stay relevant and they can get work too. So that's my story, and happily I can continue to work. I have some flexibility as a college professor, so I teach, and when I'm not teaching, I'm pursuing my acting career continually. I also do voiceovers and print modeling, and these are all avenues of making a living doing what you love that I share with my students so that they're versatile and employable. So hopefully, if you're interested in being an actor, you'll come join us here at Broward College, where we'll teach you how to get work and make a living doing what you love.
Hello, my name is Natalie Taveras. I am Assistant Professor of Theater here at Broward College, and I am also a professional scenic designer. I actually got my start in theater right here at Broward College. I am a BC alum, and I took all of my first theater courses right here, such as stagecraft, stage makeup, acting. After getting started here, I was able, and after completing my AA, I was able to transfer to the University of Miami, where I finished my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Scenic Design. Immediately after graduating, I was able to join the workforce, and I got started actually in corporate events. So I took all the knowledge I had learned from my technical theater training and design training and was able to apply it into the corporate event world. So I worked for Six Star Entertainment and Bombshell Productions, both South Florida companies, and I worked as production manager and scenic designer for both of those companies. After a few years doing that, I missed my theater background. I missed the live events. It's a completely different environment to work in. So I went back to theater, and I worked at Barry University for about 7 years, where I was the assistant technical director and resident designer there. During my 7 years there, I designed many shows, lighting design, scenic design, as well as scenic painting for all of the productions there. And I maintained a relationship with South Florida theater community, working as production manager, stage manager, and designer with different companies such as Zoetic Stage and City Theater Summer Shorts, Island City Stage. And I was able to continue doing both of those. As a freelancer, I got many opportunities to work with different people from all different backgrounds. And one of the things I love about this profession is how many people come together: electricians, carpenters, welders, actors, technicians, scenic painters. We come together to put on a live event, and it really shows you how critical collaboration and communication is in order for us to be able to create. And it's something that I absolutely love. So I decided to pursue more education, and I went on to get my Master of Fine Arts from Florida Atlantic University, and also in scenic design. And it was really because I wanted to continue all the knowledge and experience I had so far. I wanted to share that with younger generations, and I wanted to make it known that there is a lot of career opportunities out there, not just in the live theater, but in other entertainment industries, such as cruise ship entertainment and theme parks, and yeah, there's live events such as concerts and tours. So there's a lot of options out there and avenues in which we put the skills that you learn in technical theater out there for actual work. So anyway, now I'm really happy to say that I've made it full circle back to Broward College, where it all got started, and I'm really looking forward to many years of encouraging younger generations to pursue this path and to really learn amazing new skills here at the theater. Anyway, thank you very much.
And so this is Missy. Missy is one of our students, one of our theater students here, who is working on the makeup for Nolan Creary, the actor of the hour. Hi, Nolan.
Hello.
Who do you play? Who do you play in the movie?
All right, I play Romeo/Ed, so I'll be playing the dog and the owner.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So it's a whole story about how the dog leaves. I don't want to spoil too much.
Don't give it away.
Yeah. Come see the show though.
That's right. And hi, this is me, the director in the background.
Yes, the director, Professor
Yeah.
Mariah Reed.
And so Missy is an actress as well. She's performed at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival in a competition.
That was an amazing experience.
Yes.
Great time, great time.
And so did Nolan, actually. And Nolan was a finalist in that competition. We're very proud of him. He's shy. So this is Zach, and Zach is playing two roles, right? Zach, what are you playing in this play?
Well, in this getup, I am Dave, but I also play his hamster, Pepper.
Aha. Nice apron.
Thank you so much. It's my favorite.
And this is your setup. I see here you have your own little cave.
Yes, my
Nice.
little isolated box area.
Yes, and this is what you see when
You see
you're
me.
you see you
And you.
and me. Yeah, so this is his background and his microphone
And my hair paste.
and his hairpiece, so that we make sure we have continuity and that hair stays in place.
Absolutely, because it has a mind of its own.
Right. So you've been in a couple productions now.
This is my second. Back to back, I was in Deadly Deception before, directed by the same person holding the camera. But yeah, this is a really cool experience. It's really cool to actually be in person this time, as much as we possibly can. Hopefully soon I'll get that full no mask experience and everybody's safe too. So
Yeah.
everybody stay safe, please. Wear your masks.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Have a great show. And here we have Katie Valley and Colleen O'Connell, who are costume makeup gurus, orchestrating the look of the show for costumes and makeup. And they're looking at these monitors here to check and make sure that the makeup looks good on camera.
Makeup has been much more meticulous, and we get to have the opportunity to adjust it before we are, ready to go. So that's pretty cool.
But the actual costuming process was the same for us. We just have to be careful not to have chunky shoes that make too much noise, certain things that you don't think of when you have live theater. But otherwise, for us, it's kind of nice because we can take, in between takes, readjust things, just make sure that the continuity is the same, that everything maintains its original look.
Right. And so here we have Rico, who is our light and sound specialist, technical whiz guy, and handling our light board and getting all the lights right for everything. And then this is Natalie Taveras, who is our scenic designer. And Natalie, what has this process been like for you?
It's definitely been a learning experience, a big learning curve going from theater production to TV video production. So definitely had to learn a lot more about the different lighting procedures and, taking into account that you only see whatever the camera sees. We're used to seeing everything on the stage. So it definitely has been an experience. And but yeah, I can take you on a little tour of all our little spaces. We have some of our really set characters, like we have Shadow, and she is she's the little know-it-all kitty. So we gave her a little cat perch with her little cat toys for her to play with while she's in character and in her environment. We also have over here the setup for Lola, and Lola is a queen cat. She is very fabulous and always on Instagram. So we give her this very boho swing, and again, still staying socially distanced from others.
I'm sorry. Places.
Not because of how you feel.
Let's begin. Continuity is going to take some pictures. Go ahead, Ariana. Waist up. Continuity. Okay, gentlemen. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of the Ed Dave scene. I know it's a little out of sequence, but we're going to do a little bit of the Ed Dave scene. Okay? So, can we get our...
Which scene are we doing? Scene 10?
Scene 10.
Okay.
We got to get our little... So here's the procedure, guys. You hold up your little whiteboard. Make sure it's fully in camera. Okay? And once you hit record, you're going to hold them up. And you're going to say, scene 10, Dave, take 1, and then Nolan, you'll say scene 10, Ed, take 1. You'll put them down, and you wait for Fabio to give you the clip, and then action, okay?
All right, so on 3, record, all right? 1, 2, 3. Action.
Okay.
Oh, hey Ed, how you doing?
I'm okay, Dave. I just thought I'd check in with you and Laura. I'm not really leaving the house these days. My diabetes, you know?
Makes sense. You need anything, just let us know, okay?
Thanks, Dave.
Sure. What are neighbors for? Any news about Romeo?
Okay, so
No.
pause. Let's go back. So Ed, I want you to say, look at him and say, make me feel better.
Make me feel better.
Again,
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 Make me feel better.
again.
Make me feel better.
Make him do it.
Make me feel better.
Good, again. Don't feel sorry for yourself.
Make me feel better.
Yeah,
Make me feel better.
good. Again, yes.
Make me feel better.
That's it, exactly. Good. Okay, start the scene again.
Oh, hey Ed, how you doing?
I'm okay, Dave. I just thought I'd check in with you and Laura. I'm not really leaving the house these days. My diabetes, you know?
Makes sense. You need anything, just let us know, okay?
Thanks, Dave.
Sure. What are neighbors for? Any news about Romeo?
No. No one has seen him. I'm so depressed. Has your pepper shown up?
No. I've searched everywhere. I can't believe Laura just left his cage open. And you know, I don't think she even cares that he's missing.
No.
I mean, she says she's upset, but she just acts